third point in this verse was they also become free from fear and anxiety. Why free from fear and anxiety? Fear comes from whenever we are attached. We want certain people to be in our life, certain things to be in our life, certain circumstances to go a certain way. So we have fear about it. But the moment we open our hands and say, look, I will put in my 100% effort in this relationship, for this job, for this situation. But beyond that, the higher math of whether things will come to me, stay with me, or go away, that is up to Ishwara. I am just the farmer of beauty, bhakti, excellence. Beyond that is not in my jurisdiction. So when you become detached from that perspective, then what happens? Fear starts reducing. Why do you think people have so much even fear in public talking? Because we really care what the public will think about us. But if you think, okay, all right, it's okay. Who knows what the public will think? But steadfast in Ishwara, I will speak. 5 people will show up, 3 people will leave, 2 will remain, nobody will remain. It's between me and Ishwara. So when we start doing that, the fear reduces and you become bold and you speak what you have to speak. Because popularity and non-popularity, claps from the audience is not important here. So the moment we become detached, we become fearless and anxiety-less. So this is the verse that I wanted to share with you. So we are stopping at verse 15 and we will continue with other verses in our next satsang next week. And I think this is a really great time to pause, and I invite your reflections on how does this sit with you, these teachings on who is a true bhakta, who is a beloved bhakta. And instead of laying down elaborate rituals, while if you're an important bhakta, you visit the temple of Shiva on that side of the Ganga river. It's none of that. There is just this recognition that you are joining me by setting aside your dirty ego and you're meeting me with your pure soul. And then you become my beloved. Why? You know why? Because when we do that, we become instruments of Ishwara. We walk around with so much Ishwara light and help the universe. So tell me your thoughts. How does this sit with you?
There are some responses coming in the chat, Acharya Shunya. Maria shares such reassurance that the intention and not the mechanics are what matter.
Very true.
Another share says calming, but also overwhelming.
That is why long-term satsang is needed. Yeah.
Another share is, it feels refreshingly simple. Not easy, but simple.
Definitely not easy because it's the work we have to do. And we thought we will just hitch our wagon to Ishwara and we'll be saved. But none of the yoga paths are rescue paths. None of them. They are all paths where we have to do the work because we can. So this is the work that we do in bhakti. But the more work we do, the promise is that the more, it gets so easy. once we get it. So it's overwhelming, but it's simple. And it's simple, but it's complex. So it cannot be explained. It's different for everybody. And it depends on where you are with your ego and how much work you're willing to do. Are you willing to catch yourself? Yeah.
A few more shares are here. Hearing, it's assuring to know that I'm beloved, that the small, fearful, muddy overlay is not beloved, but the truth of the self is beloved.
Lovely. Yes.
Also,
And
Shunyaji,
we
your
are being asked to gently let go of that overlay. We are being shown the way so that we can become beloved to all beings. Yeah.
hearing also, Shunyaji, your teachings really resonate with me as I'm becoming more and more able to go inside and see what is within.
Yeah. You know, I want to share with you a personal story. I should really remember to add it to my book also, but I don't think it was this verse, but this is the general purport of teaching in the Vedas about being kind to all beings. It's even in Ayurveda text, the same statements are there. So at some point, I started looking at inimical thoughts, dveshti. And I took a little database of people in my life, and I realized that there were one or two people for whom I did not have compassionate, friendly thoughts. And so I sat with it and I shed a tear or two, and I realized, yeah, that's where it is. That's my matrix. That's my ego. It's 90% filled with light, but 10% is dark, as dark can be, and bitter and crusty with hatred. And then I started bringing light and love to that area, and I started really, really taking this knowledge into those areas. That, but wait, but what if they are, if Ishwara came as those people? What if Ishwara? And gradually, I want to tell you, I think that was a turning point in my life. Because as my crusted heart purified, relaxed, expanded, I could dharmically tell the people who had hurt me, not okay. But I didn't have to hate them. I could bow to them for hurting me because it made me stronger. And I have to say to you that the bhakti helped me do that. Bhakti, jnana, some combination of knowledge helped me do that back then. And your teacher is standing in front of you today. My whole world exploded with love and light, and my heart exploded with love and light. So you should really try that, really.
Wonderful.
Y-
A few more shares are here. A remembrance of what I know but forget when my ego is trying to lead the way. Hearing this wisdom brings my shraddha of this vidya to the forefront of my life. In order to overcome our desires and renounce all those things, love and faith, I hope, will inflame my will.
Yeah, because what you're being asked to renounce is just dirt. So, yes, the flame of bhakti will strengthen your will. Yeah.
And it's deeply powerful to understand how to cultivate fearlessness through non-attachment.
Yeah.
I like how Bhakti offers us a roadmap of being spiritual. It protects us from faking it, but really, truly immersing in it.
Yeah. True bhakti and the Vedas do not expect that we are faking it, because people went into this study who are most sincere. And the tradition, and even if we have not been fully given the do's and don'ts of the tradition itself keeps waking us up and taking responsibility. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The last in the chat, and I see someone has also raised their hand. In the chat, it's saying, I feel the grip is loosening. I can let go of the outcomes, what people think of me, what will happen to my loved ones. It helps to remind myself that Ishwara dwells in everyone and everything, and I offer them all to Ishwara. And then saying, and so it is, thy will be done, helps.
So
Yes.
it is.
I'm also hearing these teachings are reminders for me not to fall asleep. And also a share. Also, I'm gradually becoming able to relate these great teachings of bhakti to some Sufi literature in my language. And that helps me a lot too. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. I mean, Sufi poetry is so Advaitic. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Arya, did you
Yeah.
have a question or a share you wanted to bring?
Well, you know, I, I remember from last week or so that the suggestion that whatever we do, that the law of oneness, the unity of the unity of it all, and some of these discussions today, I thought are really fascinating. Like when we explain, I mean, no matter how it comes around, it always works out. Like this thing with natural law that I thought that was very elegant, that we're going to end up with Ishwara one way or the other. We're either going to do through the bhakti itself, or through karma, we're going to come to learn that there's that oneness, that you can't escape it. I mean, it may take us a long while to learn it, but, and I'm fascinated with how you always have these these little inspirations that remind us, like with forgiveness, that you'd say, okay, everyone says we should forgive, but then you explain why it is important, because otherwise then we are going to get stuck in the ego. And if we're stuck in the ego, then we're going to miss that oneness. So yeah, I really appreciate. In fact, I have to think about it a little more carefully, because you several times wove in those stories of why this is truly important and can help us see the singularity of it all. No matter what we believe, the singularity rules, and I just appreciate that. And I think I have to listen to this again to get each one of those insights. But thank you very much.
Yes, Arya, you do listen to this a couple of times. You all are very lucky that you have recordings that you can listen to.
Yep.
And make a few notes. Just don't catch every word, but just like a diagrammatical representation of what's really important to you. And Arya, when I went through the Bhagavad Gita with Baba, I've also had a real joy around, well, you can deny me all you want, but you still interact with me
Yeah.
through the material universe. And I had a little laugh, because how we just trip over ourselves in the material universe. And we
Yeah.
blame God for it, but we're still engaging with the laws of God, Ishwara. So how
Yes.
lovely. We are all grown up now and we are mature. And we come from different religions, pathways, but we are sitting under a great big tree of the principle of godliness, more than one specific God. And we're
Yes.
okay with it. And we understand the agency of God. And I wanted to talk a little more about forgiveness, because you brought up an important point. You see, the fact that we don't forgive means we hold something.
Mm-hmm.
From a Vedic perspective, what it shows is ignorance, where you actually think that somebody has the power to hurt you in Ishwara's universe, where not even one atom can be out of place. You really think that the suffering is unfair and has come upon you by another person planning to have their ignorance, attack on you. You really think that there is anything but Ishwara, who is forgiving and who is being forgiven. That's why our gods, Rama, Krishna, they all hold weapons and Durga goes to war, but they also forgive. And so forgiveness is letting your heart remain wide open and clarity of, hey, this is not okay. And Ram shooting an arrow and destroying Ravana, or Durga killing Mahishasura, that's like, okay, this story needs to end, but I forgive you. So forgiveness is actually a representation of knowledge, of oneness. Where there is oneness, forgiveness is. Where there is separation, forgiveness is a question. So from a Vedic perspective, it's okay. It's okay. So with those words, I leave you to your deeper journey. If you somebody said they found it overwhelming because, listen to it again, knowing that this is being spoken to your soul. The ego will find it overwhelming and unnecessary, even fatiguing and boring. But if you allow this, then you already know this at a deeper level. And you'll be okay. Yeah. So I hope that helps you. Thank you so much, Gemma.